Well, hello. It's Huck. It is, I believe, Friday morning. It is about 8:15. I went through a double lung transplant Sunday. I believe the procedure started at around 6 a.m., and I'm told they finished up and began wheeling me back to the ICU sometime around 1 p.m. I got two very healthy lungs. I am told they were very impressed with them. And more to the point, they're very impressed with my progress so far. Initially, I had 6 drainage tubes attached to me. I think typical is probably, everybody's different. More typical would probably be 4. I've only got 1 left in me. Took the 5th one out yesterday early evening. So the last one will probably go within the next day or two, depending on, how much drainage it's showing. But what's really been exceptionally well is my oxygen levels. For the first time in a year, I'm completely off oxygen. I think when they first wheeled me in here Sunday evening or Sunday afternoon, they had me on 4 liters of oxygen. Now, I slept and pretty much went most of the time this last 6 months or so on about 3 liters of oxygen, and went up to 4 when I was doing, pulmonary rehab or any kind of real physical activity to speak of. Trying to do my laundry or those types of things. Otherwise, I was generally between 2 and 3. Last 6 months or so, closer to 3. So by Monday morning, I was down to 2. And by Monday evening or early Wednesday or early Tuesday, I was off oxygen altogether. So my oxygen levels right now are fluctuating anywhere from 98 to 100. My blood pressure has been good. The only side effect of adverse reaction I've had so far is I've had a great deal of swelling, edema they call it, and it's been limited mostly to my left and right arms. I feel like I'm breathing rather shallow, but they tell me I'm about where I should be, if not better, at least 4 times the amount of lung function that I had before. And so, part of this process is to get me up on my feet, moving as much, expanding my lungs as much as possible over the coming weeks and months. And eventually, I may even exceed what my normal once was, because these lungs are bigger than my original lungs. My lungs had grown enlarged due to my disease, and so they had expanded the chest cavity. So a match for me required to find a donor who not only had healthy lungs that matched, but were big enough to accommodate the now larger cavity left over from these enlarged lungs. So the fact that they found me a donor has been probably as remarkable as my recovery to date. And I try to stay aware of all of that. It's going to be a long road to recovery. And the first year is really critical. It's during that first year that they find this balance between, enough drugs to keep my body from rejecting the organ which it sees as a foreign object, and to keep me free of infection. And there are going to be some bumps along the road. Typically, people are going to, from time to time, have signs of rejection. And it'll be necessary in those occasions to probably maybe even admit me for a few days till they get things under control. And so really, this whole next several months to up to a year is going to be a journey in search of the right combination of medications that I should be taking daily, and getting that balance right. Eventually, my condition should stabilize. And so as time goes on, if indeed I am stable after a year or so, the risk of rejection and the risk of infection becomes less intense. I'm told that in general, successful lung transplants, for a double lung transplant like I had, at least at this hospital and in most cases, can be up to 90% success rate for the first year. And then it slowly goes down. It can be maybe 70% after 3 years, maybe as low as 50% after 5 years, and then a significant drop. Typically, the survival rate is around 30% after 10 years. Now, there are a lot of factors that go into that, and everybody is unique. So I have some lofty goals. I hope to get strong enough to do some of the things I used to enjoy. I would like to someday get on a ski slope again. I could never afford to do much of that, but to be able to do that again would be great. I love swimming, but there is a real risk of infection being around that, so I'm probably going to be willing to somewhat give that up. I hope to do a little light traveling. I would like to be able to maybe go golf once in a while. I took up golf because I wasn't able to do other things that I enjoyed. It'll be good to just be able to, toss a ball, or I get winded doing the most minute thing. I was finally getting to the point where I was having trouble just cooking, just standing at the counter, and stirring something was becoming hard. I believe, all in all, for me, the timing worked out perfect. I showed somewhat significant decline after every winter. I kind of came out of all my little exacerbations and flare-ups of my COPD a little worse for wear. And winters were tough for me here in Ohio. And if I would have survived another winter, which I might well have done, I may have been able to muddle through one more winter. But I can almost assure you that in my mind, had I done so, I don't think I would have been strong enough to get through what's now required of me in the recovery process. This has been easily the most pain and the most difficulty I've ever gone through in my life. I've been fortunate. I've not had a lot of medical issues in my life that put me in great pain. My mom, on the other hand, went through a great deal of it. Many major operations, many bowel operations. She had everything from a bowel obstruction to going back in and relieving some of the stress on her bowel from adhesions from the first operation. She had a half a hysterectomy, a full hysterectomy. Finally, she had bowel cancer, colon cancer, that had to be removed. And that was one of 3 bouts of cancer that she had. She also had breast cancer, but they removed the breast. So my mom was an incredibly strong woman. My dad had a hip replacement surgery, which I can imagine is very difficult to get through. In this case, the most difficulty with this procedure, as I can tell, is probably they made 2 little incisions under the left and under the right rib cage. They didn't slash me all the way across my body as is typically done. And that's where they inserted the lungs. However, they had to make a incision through my breastbone, through my sternum, to attach the lungs to the esophagus. And it's that incision that's probably going to continue to cause me the greatest amount of pain. And so every 2 hours or so, I don't know, they give me various forms of pain medication, including a few times about 5 milligrams of Oxycontin, which I think is the most, the strongest medication. Not exactly sure. I know I've taken lots of Tylenol, some other pain medications as well. I'm taking antiviral, antifungal, anti-rejection medications, antibiotics. So, and some of those right now are coming in IV form or fluid form eventually, and they're already putting this together, a list of maybe as many as 30 medications that I'll be taking daily on a very strict regimen, and they'll all be oral, but they will be the anti-rejection, the antibiotics, and the whole gamut. I was only taking maybe 3 things before. So anyway, that's my report for today. I wanted to get back with you when I felt well enough. I've been sitting up, like I say, I've been up now for about 2.5 hours this morning. They got me up early. I'm guessing I'll be up quite a bit today, and I'll probably be on my feet several times today. You have a great day. I will talk to you again soon. Keep you updated. I want to thank all of you who've been thinking of me, and you know who you are. There's someone very special that's been helping me, without whose help I would not be here today. And unfortunately, I will continue to rely on that support a while longer. I don't really know what costs I'm facing at this point, but we're going to get through this, and words just can't express how grateful I am that that help has been there for me. In many ways, I really have to believe that someone's looking down on me or something, because I am truly the luckiest person I know. I'm just the most fortunate person to be in this situation talking to you today. But once you make the decision to go through this, there's no going back. There's no. There's only, you're going to make the most of this. And that's my goal. We're going to do this. We're going to do it right. And that's my goal. So I will talk to you again soon. Thanks for listening. I love you all.